My cousin moved in after his divorce. It was supposed to be temporary. A year later, he still hadn't paid rent, doesn't do any housework, and treats me like a maid. I want him gone. It started like most family things do. Just for a little while, my cousin had just finalized his divorce, said he needed a place to land, said he didn't want to be a burden. I had a spare room. I said yes. He moved in with 4 boxes, 1 duffel bag, and a mattress strapped to the roof of his car. No furniture, no timeline, just an awkward smile and a thanks again, seriously. The first few weeks were fine. He kept to himself, was quiet. Didn't cook, didn't clean much, but didn't make a mess either. Said he'd help out once he got his head right. I didn't push. Divorce sucks. I figured he needed space. He didn't buy groceries. At first, I thought he was just waiting to ask. But then I noticed he was eating mine. No thanks. No offer to replace them, just empty shelves where my snacks used to be. He said he'd transfer me money at the end of the month. I said, okay. The end of the month came. He said his account was frozen, something with child support paperwork. Next. Week for sure. I nodded. That became a pattern. My mom told me I was doing a good thing. Family helps family. She said it like that settled everything. He started using my streaming accounts. Not a big deal, until I couldn't watch something because he'd added his kids' profiles to mine. No heads up. Just quietly made my stuff our stuff. He asked if his friend could crash on the couch for a night. I said okay. 3 nights later, I found both of them asleep in the living room, pizza boxes stacked on the floor, someone's shoes on my coffee table. I didn't say anything. I should have. He used my towel. That sounds small, but it wasn't an accident. It was mine. It was in my bathroom. When I asked why, he shrugged. You've got like 5. I told a friend he was staying with me. She raised an eyebrow. Still, I said, it's only been a couple months. She looked at me and said, that's not temporary. That's a second tenant. He started calling it home. At first, I didn't think much of it. Heading home, I'll be home by 8. Can you grab something on the way home? It was subtle, but it was mine, and he kept saying it like it was ours. He stopped using headphones. His game controller clicked through the wall. I could hear his show's theme song from my bedroom, same one every night. I mentioned it once. I said, you're just sensitive, thin walls. He asked if he could use my car while I worked from home. I hesitated. He said, you're not going anywhere. Come on. I said, okay. He brought it back with fast food wrappers in the back seat. He used my address for a job application. Didn't ask. I found out when mail came with his name on it. He laughed and said, I figured it didn't matter. It did. Groceries. Went faster. I started running out of basics halfway through the week. I asked if he could cover part of the next trip. He said, I'm stretched right now, but I'll throw down next time. There hasn't been a next time. He started inviting people over. Not often, but casually. My buddy might drop by. We're just having a few beers. I came home once to 3 guys on the couch and someone I didn't know in my kitchen. No heads up. No invite, just my house, less mine again. He started doing laundry during my work meetings. I asked if he could wait until I was off calls. He rolled his eyes. Didn't realize it was that serious. He still does it. He started using phrases like, we should fix the backyard. We should look into painting the hallway, as if this was shared space, as if his name was on anything. He stopped knocking. My door. The bathroom. Anything. Once I was getting dressed and he just walked in to ask real quick if I had any shampoo, I told him to knock. He laughed. All right, chill. My friend came over. After she left, he said, she's cute. You 2 ever hook up? I didn't answer. He laughed. I'm just saying, you could do worse. And I realized something. He didn't see me as someone who gave him shelter. He saw me as someone who wouldn't say no. I started eating dinner in my room. He didn't ask why. Just kept using the kitchen, putting his dishes in the sink, turning. The TV up. It felt easier to disappear. I stopped buying the good coffee. He noticed. Damn. No espresso pods this week? I shrugged. He didn't offer to buy any. I cleaned the whole place one Saturday morning. He came back from the gym, tracked dirt through the hallway, Dumped his bag by the couch and grabbed a beer. Didn't say a word, didn't notice. He asked to borrow cash for gas, said he'd pay me back Friday. It was Monday. By Friday, I hadn't heard anything. When I brought it up, he said, "Didn't realize you were going to make it a thing." I started locking my bedroom door. He noticed. Everything. Good, I said, just trying to focus lately. He nodded, didn't push. But the way he looked at the door said everything. He left the fridge open, left laundry in the washer overnight, left hair in the bathroom sink. None of it huge, all of it cumulative. Like tiny reminders that this wasn't my space anymore. My best friend asked if he was paying rent yet. I said no. She raised her eyebrows. "You're a better person than me." And I didn't feel like a better person. I felt tired. I asked him gently if he'd had any leads on a new place. He sighed. "It's just not a good time right now. I've got too much going on." And then, like it was nothing. "You've been good about this. You get it." I didn't answer. Because I didn't. Not anymore. He was on the phone in the kitchen laughing. "No, I'm good. Staying with my cousin. She's chill. Honestly, it's been a lifesaver." That word again. Staying. As if it was something he was doing, not something I was letting him do. That night, I stared at the ceiling and asked myself a question I hadn't dared ask before. If he never leaves, do I have the guts to make him? And I didn't know the answer. Not yet. He threw a small get-together. Didn't ask. Just said, "A few people might stop by tonight." I was working late. Came home to 4 of his friends in the living room, music. On, drinks out, shoes off, my couch, my glasses, my night gone. One of his friends asked, "So you're the landlord?" He laughed and said, "She lets me crash here. She's good like that." Good. Like I was some sweet little host. After they left, I said, "You need to clear things with me first. This isn't your place." He nodded. Said, "Relax. It's not." That's serious. That was his favorite defense. Downplay and dismiss. He ordered delivery on my account. Didn't ask. I got the notification at work. He'd used the saved card. When I brought it up, he said, "I was gonna Venmo you. Chill." He didn't. That weekend, I was getting ready to head out. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. Said, "You going out dressed like that?" Didn't even look up. Just said it. Casual. Like I was supposed to laugh. I didn't answer. I just left. I thought about it the entire time I was gone. Not because I cared what he thought, but because he thought it was okay to say it. The next morning, he asked if I could grab toilet paper on my way home. I stared at him. He didn't even blink, didn't offer to pay, didn't say thank you, just assumed I'd say yes. I didn't respond. He said, "You all right? You've been acting weird lately," and for the first time since he moved in, I didn't hold it in. I said, "You act like I owe you something." He looked stunned. Said, "I thought we were family." I said, "We are, which is the only reason you're still here." And I meant it. He didn't say anything else that night. But I saw the shift, the way he avoided eye contact, the way he stayed in his room a little more. I think he knew. This wasn't a favor anymore. It was a countdown. I typed the message 5 times. Before I sent it, "You have 4 weeks to move out. This isn't working anymore. I need my home back. No emojis, no soft language, just a full stop." He read it instantly, didn't reply for 2 hours, then finally, "Wow, okay." That was it. That night, he didn't speak to me, just walked around like he was in someone else's house, which technically he was. 2 days later, he asked, "Is this really about the rent?" I said, "It's about everything." He rolled his eyes. "You could have just talked to me." I had. He hadn't listened. He told my mom. She called me, said he was heartbroken, said I was being cold. I asked her if she knew how long he'd been living here. She said, "A few months, right?" He'd been here 11. He started being helpful, cleaning dishes, taking out the trash, offering to cook. The kind of things people do when they realize they're losing access. I didn't soften. I said thanks when it made sense. But I didn't change. The deadline. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 days. He asked if I could give him more time. I asked, would you have ever moved out if I didn't ask you to? He didn't answer, because we both knew the answer. He left his bedroom door open one night. Boxes, piles of clothes, a half-filled trash bag. I didn't go in, but I stood in the hallway longer than I should have. It almost felt sad. Almost, a few days. Before the deadline, I came home and his car was gone. No note, no goodbye, just the room, empty. He left the keys on the kitchen counter, and that was it. The first night the room was empty, I left the door open, just stared at it. No sound, no game controller clicking, no voices bleeding through the wall. I slept like I hadn't in months. I vacuumed, wiped down the windows, bagged up some things he'd left behind, a half-empty body wash, a sock with no pair. It felt like cleaning up after a stranger. I sat on the couch with the TV off, realized it had been months since I'd sat there alone, with no background noise. No one else's energy in the room. It felt right, but not exciting. Just mine. He didn't text, no check-in, no thanks again, no final swing at guilt. That part surprised me, not because I missed it, just because I expected him to try. My aunt reached out. He's staying with a friend. Still getting back on his feet? I didn't reply. She added, family's supposed to help each other. I almost said I did, for a year. But what's the point? I started cooking more, using my real plates, buying food without worrying it'd be gone when I got home. It's wild how many small habits come back when you're not bracing for someone else. I checked my bank app. First time in a while I hadn't felt sick doing it. Everything was where it should be, uninterrupted, untouched, no. Mystery withdrawals. No unexpected grocery bills. A friend came over, said the place felt lighter, not cleaner, just less strained. I hadn't noticed. But she was right. Sometimes I replay the things I didn't say, the way I let things slide, the excuses I made for him. How long I told myself, he's going through a lot. I don't regret helping. I regret how much of myself I gave away doing it. Someone asked if I miss him. I said no. But sometimes I do miss the version of me who thought helping people would always be enough to make them respect you. Learned the hard way, and now that door is locked. I thought about turning the spare room into a guest room, then decided not to. Not yet. It still felt like a reminder, and I wasn't ready to decorate around it. My mom called, asked if I'd heard. From him, I said no. She said, you two should talk. I said, when he's ready to talk like an adult, he knows where I live. And that was the end of that. A coworker mentioned her brother needed a place to crash. Just for a little while. I almost said yes. Almost. But I remembered what a little while can become when no one's honest about their limits. I didn't stop being generous. I just stopped letting people confuse access with permission. You can care about someone without giving them your keys. He posted something vague online. Some people turn their backs when you need them most. A few likes, a few comments. I didn't respond because I didn't owe anyone a defense. A friend moved in with their partner after. A few weeks she vented about the mess, the noise, the stress, then paused and said, I don't know how you did it for a year. And I realized I didn't. I survived it. That's not the same thing. I made a rule. No more second homes unless there's a plan. No temporary stays without timelines. No free rides without respect. And no one moves in without a conversation. I'm ready to have twice. I deleted the last text thread, not to erase it, just to stop reopening it. If he wants to talk like things matter again, he'll have to start over, from scratch. My place feels like mine again, not louder, not fancier, just mine. That's enough, more than enough. People say boundaries are harsh, but they're not. They're how you protect the part of yourself that gives a damn. And I still do. I just don't give it to people who treat kindness like it's free refills.